How does this, you charging me, become this? Wild hogs are destructive and aggressive. They pose a real threat to Texas farmers and ranchers, but they sure do taste good. We set our hog trap, hoping to catch some pigs in the trap in order to help fill our freezer. But we caught something else. If you haven't seen that first video, you're in for quite a treat. I'll make sure and post the link so you can find that video. And I'll even post a QR code for those of you that are watching it on a big screen TV. We then reset the pig trap, and sure enough, we caught some pigs. So now the question is, how much meat did we get for our freezer? Stick around to the very end to find out.
This was solid oats, and this is all that's left out of this entire patch of oats.
Wild hogs aren't welcome guests in Texas. Originally brought here in 1539 by Spanish explorer De Soto, and then crossbred to Eurasian wild boars for hunting in the 1800s, these destructive animals are not native to Texas. They've thrived in the warm climate and abundant food sources, becoming an invasive species. Unlike many wildlife populations, wild hogs reproduce rapidly, having multiple litters per year with large numbers of piglets. Compared to other large mammals, wild hogs have a very short gestation period of just under 4 months. Sows can start breeding at 6 months of age and average 4 to 6 piglets each litter. This rapid breeding, coupled with their lack of natural predators, allows their populations to explode. The result? Devastated farmlands, ruined ecosystems, and frustrated landowners. These hogs tear up crops with their snouts, leaving trails of destruction in their wake. They also carry diseases and disrupt native wildlife by competing for food and habitat. Again, there will be graphic elements, so feel free to skip ahead if needed. I've marked the chapters on this video, so you are welcome to skip to the next chapter if you don't want to see the actual butchering process. They jump. Wild hogs can wreak havoc on farmland, and responsible removal is sometimes necessary. We'll show you how to utilize this bounty while minimizing waste. It's important to check local regulations regarding trapping and processing wild hogs. Always prioritize humane methods and utilize the resources responsibly. Similar to processing any animals, proper tools and hygiene are crucial. Skinning requires sharp tools and careful technique to remove the hide without damaging the meat. We will open the abdominal cavity, taking care to avoid puncturing the organs. I always harvest the heart, liver, and kidneys for our dog Maggie. There are much needed vitamins in the liver, and she loves the heart. It is important not to waste any part of the animal, so we take the parts we want to utilize. Harvest a lot of organs and trimmings to feed the dog for days. This is another place where you have to check regulations on how to properly dispose of the carcass in your area.
Frank, he's gonna lift it. Okay.
Traditional butchering usually involves using a meat saw to cut the carcass in half, but we don't do that. Since we are sharing the carcass with Maggie, we take the ham, shoulders, and the back strap, and we leave the neck and rib cavity for her. The head and skin is all that is left to dispose of. I know a lot of people in Texas also use the head to make barbacoa, but I've never done that before. If anyone knows a resource I can use to learn to do that, please drop it in the comments below.
What's your name? You want me to take over for a little while? Ready for the saw? You ready for the saw?
It's pretty quick.
Okay. Or do you need to cut the bottom legs? Yeah.
Once the pigs have been quartered out, it is at this point I take over the process. I use the large gray tubs to portion and weigh the meat. These tubs are great for this. They come from Mart, and we have so many uses for them. I put the covered gray tubs in the refrigerator overnight to cool the meat down, and to let any blood drain from the meat. With the bones still in, we have 118 pounds of meat from the pigs we caught in the trap. The next morning, it is time to start deboning the meat. Unfortunately, the knife isn't as sharp as I like it, so after a quick wash, I use one of my favorite knife sharpeners. It's a V-Sharp Warthog knife sharpener. It has a really solid base, and it's very easy to sharpen knives with the cross scissor action. Much better. For the carne asada, you want chunks about this big? Okay. Because I didn't see the last time you cooked it. I didn't see how big of chunks you had. You know,
last time I just did the whole shoulder and everything else, but it took
2 days.
4 days.
The deboning process takes at least 2 hours to get all of the meat off the bone and into the bags. The next morning, I start by making several 2-pound packages for stew meat. The rest we've put into 2-gallon Ziploc bags to make carne asada later. I love to make carne asada out of wild hog as it becomes super tender, and I can it so it lasts all year without taking up space in the freezer.
No. I'll give you some later. Let me finish what I'm doing.
The bones with meat bits still on them will go to Maggie as well.
What?
I'm using a scale to measure out 2-pound packages. Make sure to zero out the scale with the bowl on it so that the weight of the bowl isn't added to the meat. There are 2 ways to prepare the meat for the freezer. The first, more traditional way to prepare meat for the freezer is to wrap it in butcher paper. I use saran wrap first as an additional layer to block air from getting to the meat. The air getting to the meat is what leads to that freezer burn taste. Then the package is wrapped in butcher paper. Remember to put the waxy side of the freezer paper against the meat. The plain side should be on the outside to help prevent freezer burn. But my favorite way, as it is a lot faster and lasts just as long, is to use a vacuum sealer. In addition to all the meat that we got off the ham and shoulders that I deboned for chili and carne asada meat, we also have all the loins and backstrap off the pigs. So the little loins there that came off the younger pigs, we can fry and make excellent suppers out of. And the larger backstraps get cut into steaks. When using a vacuum sealer, it's important that the bag lays smooth and flat across the heating elements that melt and seal the vacuum sealer bag. So sometimes it's necessary to prop up what you're trying to seal in order to get it level with the sealer and prevent wrinkles. Starting on the left, we got 7 packages of chili meat that I wrapped into 2-pound packages. Next, we're at 8 packages of the pork steaks that we cut from the backstrap. Then you'll see the 2 large 2-gallon bags of carne asada meat that weighed 40 pounds of meat total between the 2 bags. And then you'll see 3 packages of the pork loins. So that makes a total of 88 pounds ready in the freezer. And so we've reset the pig trap, ready for the next round of meat for the freezer, and also to get them off of our ranch so they stop tearing up all the crops we plant for our cows. If you're ever wondering how this style of pig trap works, you'll see that the gate is wired up, hanging on a hook, wired across to the back of the pen, where the corn is on a little tray. When they bump the tray, they'll release the hook and the door will slam down.